everyone, welcome to Graphic Designers Workshop. Let us see how we can create this chips packet in Illustrator. So let us start. Let us first create an A4 size landscape document and we will give it a name chips packet. So now we have created the document, or you can say artboard, which is necessary for creating our chips packet, right? Then we will start creating the body of our chips packet. So I will simply select the rectangle tool and then we will add some points using the add anchor point tool. Right, so just we'll adjust it. Right, so then we will give it some color. We'll give it a yellow color, or say a color in between orange and yellow. Right, then we will turn off the stroke. So then what we'll do is, say, we will slightly make these corners rounded. So select the point and then just click on this convert selected anchor points to smooth. Right, so now we will create the other side of this chips packet body. So just duplicate it by holding Alt and then we will flip it. So simply we will right click and we will use flip reflect option. And then we will unite these points like this. So we will make the other side a little bit uneven actually. So we can just change these points a little bit. So something like this. Right. Now we will unite these two rectangles. So simply open the Pathfinder and then just click on this unite. Right, then we will slightly scale it. Right, so basically this is our body of our chips packet. Then the next thing we'll do is we will try to add a shading to the body. So we'll select the pen tool and let us select a dark shade here. Oh sorry, just deselect the chips packet and we'll select a dark shade here. So just we'll try to keep it on the corner, at the corner. Keep this dark shade at the corner. Right, so you can slightly adjust it. So we'll also create a shade on the right side. So again select the pen tool and then we'll just create one shade on the right side. So simply like this, and we'll try to adjust it. We'll keep it exactly at the corner. Right. So we can adjust it properly. Right. So the next thing we are supposed to do is we will give a gradient color to the body. So just simply open the gradient dialog. So if you can't see the gradient panel, you can go to Windows and open the gradient here, or you can hit keyboard shortcut Ctrl plus F9. Right. So here I have opened the color panel also along with the gradient. So just select this point and we will pick a dark shade here, and then again select this point and slightly lighter shade we'll select just here, right? And then we can remove this point. We will select a slightly lighter shade and then a darker shade, right? And then we'll create one more point here and we will select a bright shade here. So two dark shades and one bright shade. So something like this, right? And we can make the last this button with this slider a little bit darker if you want. Yeah, this is better. Right. So now the next step we are supposed to do is we will give some blur option to these dark shades that we have created at the corners. So I will select this, go to effect, and we'll go to blur and we'll use Gaussian blur. So something like this. So we'll select the right side dark shade and we will apply blur, FX blur and Gaussian blur to this, and we will put the same value 56 here, right? So the next thing we are supposed to do is, so we will create the cap. So just we will do one thing. So just we will create a cap here by using the rectangle tool, and we'll change the color later. Right. So we'll adjust it later. We have to use some more editing on this rectangle. Okay. So now the next thing we'll do is we'll add highlights here. So the bright areas. So for bright areas, what we'll do is we'll first open layers. We'll just take a new layer and we'll select the pen tool, and we want highlights here. We can lock this bottom layer so that we can't select accidentally this object. So just we will create a bright highlight. Just create a path here and then we'll turn off the fill. Then what we'll do is we will use a width tool here. So we'll just choose width tool and then we'll try to just increase the width here like this, and then we want it to be in white color. So we'll just give it a pure white color and then we'll expand it. Go to object and click on expand appearance so that it becomes an editable object, right? So the next thing we are supposed to do is, so we will apply a gradient to this. So you just simply open the gradient panel, and here we'll select it and we'll turn off the stroke here. So then what I'll do is, for this right dark slider, we will reduce the opacity to 0%. And we'll increase it like this. So we can also change the gradient direction, so we can make it vertical. So something like this. So something like this we can create. So select this highlight, and then what we'll do is we will apply a blur to this highlight. So just go to effect, blur, and we'll apply the same Gaussian blur that we have applied to these shadows. So simply we can apply a small value here. So 17 is okay. So something like this, and we'll do the same on the right side. So again I will select a pen tool, and I will again select the stroke and turn off the fill, and then we'll create one more highlight on the right side, simply like this. And then we will use the width tool again, and just simply create a highlight like this, which has a sharp corner on the at the bottom, and then we'll expand it. Go to object and expand appearance. Then we will apply a gradient to this. So the gradient has the white on top and the transparency at the bottom. So what we'll do is we will simply use a G, which is annotator, and we will change the direction of the gradient. So something like this, so that it is transparent at the bottom. So something like this. So then again we will apply a blur to this, effect, blur, Gaussian blur. So something around 19 is okay, right? So now we have highlights and also shadows. So we'll also try to adjust the cap here. So we'll open the layers, and then we'll unlock the layers, and we'll try to give some different shape to this cap, and we'll make it rounded. So something like this. And also at the bottom. So simply give it some different looking shape. So something like this. So we can add one more point here and change the shape. Right. So the next thing we are supposed to do is we will add some design inside. So how to add the design? So what I will do is I will take a duplicate of the body, so something like this, and then we will create a design. The design is simple actually. So we'll take an ellipse, we'll take a stroke here, we'll increase the size of the stroke, and we will give a green color to the stroke. Right. So then we'll take a duplicate of this. Okay, Control C, Control F. So we'll create a set of circles by using Control C, Control F, and try to center scale Alt Shift, use Alt Shift to center scale. So something like this. So now we have created these circles. The next thing we are supposed to do is we can actually expand all the circles. So the reason why we have to expand is, so if you try to scale them, so they might actually increase their size because they are all strokes. So in order to avoid that, we need to expand them. So now we will simply just keep it, just group them together, and then what I will do is, so I will first try to keep this shape in front of this design. So then I will select the design as well as the shape, and then I will simply right click and select clipping mask. So something like this. Then we will take this clipping mask and keep it over here. So we'll adjust it properly to this body of the chips packet, right? So something like this, and then so we will apply a blending mode to this. So simply select this, and here we have opacity, and we'll try to first check with this overlay. Okay, so we can use overlay if you want, but I think we can also go with multiply, as well as we can go with some things like okay, color burn is also looking nice. So okay, we can stick to color burn, but we also want to reduce its opacity. So something like this. Right. So we can actually just slightly increase the opacity if you want. Right. Now this looks better. Just adjust it like this. Right. So now we have also put the design. Now just we have to put the label, and also we will put some designs on the cap also, the opening cap. Right. So what we'll do is we'll just open the layers. We will lock both the layers, and then we'll create one more layer here. And we can hide both these layers, bottom layers, and then what I will do is we will create one simple rectangle. So here we have a rectangle here, right? And then what we'll do is we'll create one more rectangle at the bottom. This is like a label. So then we'll use a delete anchor point tool. Just keep it here. And we'll flip it. So something like this. And we'll give it some color. We'll simply open the colors panel. We can give some red color if you want, and we'll also take a duplicate of this, keep it here, and we'll flip it. Right. So then we will take one more rectangle here. So this is like a ribbon, and create one more point here. Just make it like this, and then we'll use an eyedropper and just apply the same color to this, and then we can keep it at the behind all the objects. Right. Something like this. Right. Then we'll take one more duplicate of it, and we will flip it by using this transform and reflect. Then we'll adjust it over here. So something like this. So now the next step, what we'll do is, so we will add some gradient colors to these objects. So the way we can do is, instead of creating a gradient from the scratch, we can use ready-made gradients which are found in swatches actually. So we can go to Windows and open the swatches. So in swatches we have to go to the swatches libraries. So at the bottom of swatches panel we have this list of libraries, and here we'll select the gradient and we'll open this gems and jewels. So here we have inbuilt gradients, so we can use them. So for this we'll use a greenish gradient here. So something like this. So it will save a lot of our time. Instead of creating a gradient from the scratch, we can use these swatches. So then for this we will use a red one. So that's it. So we have created a simple ribbon. So the next thing we are supposed to do is, so we'll give some attraction to this ribbon actually. We want the ribbon to be in arc shape. So for that what we'll do is, so we'll first group this. Just first we'll try to increase the size, and then now we'll group it, Ctrl G, and then we'll go to effect, and here we have an option bar, and we'll select this option arc. So simply we'll use this arc shape. So we can slightly increase the arc value, the bend value here, right, and simply click OK. Right, so then we will expand it. So we'll go to object and select expand appearance, right. So then now the next thing we are supposed to do is, we will also put some text on this ribbon. So the text will be the label for our chips packet, so the title. So what we'll do is, simply we will select the pen tool and we'll create one arc shape here, and also we want this arc shape to be a stroke. We'll turn off the fill. So we'll create a path here, path using the pen tool. Right. So once we have created a path, so now we'll put the label or the title for our chips packet. The title is, it is actually crunchy munchy. So we will just type the word, and we have to use, so just a minute, we'll open this panel here. So we will use this type on a path tool. So if you want to put the text on this path, so we'll use this type on a path tool, and then we'll just click on this path, and a default dummy text is created, but we want our own text. So what we'll do is, we'll first increase the size of the text 36, and then we'll type the title. So we'll use capitals for the first letter, crunchy munchy, right. So we'll also increase the size, so something like this, and we'll change the font to Comic Sans bold. So this will be the right font here. So we'll try to keep it, adjust it properly. And then we can slightly reduce the size, right. We'll make it even smaller. Right, and we can also change the position of this by using the direct selection tool and moving the text. We can change the position, right. Right. Now it looks fine. So then we can break the connection between the path and the text. So the way we can do is, so we can simply go to object and then again we will select the option expand. So what will happen is the text will break its connection with the path. So now we will just select the text and then we'll apply color to this. We'll apply a pure yellow color to this. Right. And we can also give some drop shadow to it. We'll go to effect, stylize and select drop shadow. So something like this. We can use these default values. Right. Now this looks better. So then what we can do is, so we can select the entire ribbon as well as the text and then we'll group it. So Ctrl G for group. Right. Now we'll open our layers. And then we can just unhide the chips packet. We can also unlock them and then we'll try to scale it. So we can keep it here, but the one thing we can do is before keeping it, we'll also use one ellipse here. So we can keep it in front of an ellipse. Just select an ellipse. We'll give it a reddish color to this, reddish gradient. So we can simply pick a gradient here. We can use a radial gradient and it should look like something like a sphere. So we'll hit G and then we can change the direction. So something like this. Right. Now it looks like a sphere. Then what we can do is we can keep this ribbon in front of this sphere. And also one thing we can do is we can give a white color stroke to this ribbon. So now it looks fine. Right. And then we can also give some white stroke to this sphere. Then we can combine it, or we can say group it. Sorry, not combine, group. Then we'll scale it down. Keep it here. Right. So the next thing we are supposed to do is I will put one text here. Spicy potato. So we can put S as capitals and also P as capital. Right. Then we can change the font to pure white color. We'll keep it over here. Right. So the next thing we are supposed to do is we'll put an image here. So I'll just go to File, Place, and get the image of potatoes. So I got the image of potatoes. So just we will scale it down. It's a very big one. So just keep it here. So we can give it a simple drop shadow. So we'll go to effects, stylize and drop shadow. Just what we'll do is we'll change the direction here of the shadow. So we'll just change this x offset and y offset values, right? Right. Can make it slightly small. So then we'll also put some extra labels here or extra text here, information. So something like so we can say extra hot extra spicy. Or just will okay, this is correct. So we can just keep it here. You can give it a pure red color if you want. And then we can give it some white color stroke, and we'll also change the stroke size here. So we don't want the stroke size to be too big, and we will also make it we'll also give it a little bit of drop shadow. Go to effect, stylize and drop shadow. So we'll just give it a shadow with 50% opacity, or let us say 20%. Okay, a very light shadow, right? And we can also give it some warp options here. So we don't want it to be just straight. Okay, so we can give it something like a flag here. So something like this. So something like this. Okay, right, now it looks better. Right, now this looks better. And also we can do some change on this label here, the center title one. We'll just ungroup it. We don't want the white stroke, we'll remove the white stroke. Okay, it looks now it looks nice, right? So we'll give gradient to the cap. So we'll just select the cap, the top of the chips packet, and the gradient that we'll give is, so we'll use this slider, and then we can give it some dark shade on the left, and we'll select this slider, and we'll also give some dark shade, and the center one we'll give a lighter shade actually. So something like this. So, and one of the slider will give a brightest shade here. So something like this. Right. So now we'll give the same shade to the bottom, same gradient to the bottom. So all we have to do is select the bottom cap, and then we'll select the eyedropper, and then we'll pick the same gradient here. Right. And we can change the direction of the gradient by hitting G and activating the annotator. So we can just change the direction like this. So something like this. Right, now this looks better. And on the top side also we will try to change the direction. Right, now it looks better. Right, Then we can give some white color stroke to the body actually. So you can see a white stroke. So we will finish off the chips packet by creating stripes on the caps at the bottom as well as at the top. So we'll select the pen tool, we'll select the stroke color, we'll turn off the fill, and then we'll create white color stripes. So what we have to do is just to create it like this. So we can adjust it properly. Right. So then what we'll do is we'll change the look of this stroke. Select the stroke, and then we can then use this width option here. Instead of uniform, we can select this width profile one. Right. So something like this. And then we can also give some blur to this. So we'll just go to effect and blur and Gaussian blur. We'll give a very small value here. Right. So something like this. So for all the three these parts, we will give a small blur value. Right. Just better. And then we'll do the same thing for the bottom part. So we'll just select the pen tool. And then we'll create two more parts. Right. So then we'll do the same thing. We will select the path, and instead of uniform we'll select this width profile one. So for all the three parts. Right. And then again we will apply a small amount of Gaussian blur to the parts. Right. So just go to effect, blur and Gaussian blur. Right. So now we have completed our chips packet. So what we'll do is just we can give some final touch-ups for this. So we can just group it. So then we will create a background here. So we'll select a rectangle tool. We'll create a black color background here. Turn off the stroke and send the black background behind the chips packet. And we can see some problem here. So on the right side here. So these are the shades we have created in the beginning actually. So we will actually delete them. So just in the beginning we just wanted some dark color on the left and right of the chips packet, so we have created them. So now we will actually create these shades in a different way. So we'll delete these things. Right. So the next thing we'll do is we'll just select the chips packet here, and we want some darkness on the corners on the left and right edges for this packet. So we'll just create one point here. and then we'll pick a darker coloring. Okay, so something like this. So you can see the dark shade here. Just we'll move these points, and then we'll create one more point here, and we'll keep it on the right side. So something like this. So now you can see the dark shades on the left and right edges of the chips packet. So now it looks interesting, right? Right. So then the next thing we are supposed to do is we don't want this white stroke, we'll remove it. Right. So then the next thing we'll do is we'll just put the name of the company that is producing these chips. So we'll just type ABC Foods. So this is some fictional company here. So we'll just use this, and we'll change the font to impact, and also we'll give some warp effect to this. So we'll use bulge option here. Right. Just something like this. So we can just keep it over here, make it very small. And we can expand it, and we can also give it a different color. And what we can do is, instead of keeping it just like this, we can just say a product of so something like this. So we can give some white color stroke to this, and we can change the stroke size, and we can give some slighter drop shadow to it. Right. So the last thing we'll do is, so we'll put a vegetarian logo. So that is actually we'll create a rectangle here. So we'll give it a pure white color with the green stroke. Right. We can expand it. Right. And then we'll just create one ellipse here. And we'll get a pure green color, green fill, and we'll remove the stroke. This is a symbol for vegetarian products actually. So if you have red color, it is for non-vegetarian products. This is actually a common thing for all products that are sold in India actually. So group it, and we can just keep it over here. Right. So this is our chips packet that we have completed. So the next thing we are supposed to do is we will export it. So what we'll do is first we will actually we'll group it. I will just keep this black background aside. We'll first group it, Ctrl G, Then we'll keep it here. Make it a little bit big. Right. Now we'll export it. So simply go to File and select Export Save As. And now we'll export it as a chips packet. We'll say crunchy munchy chips, and we'll export it as a PNG file. Right. So now we have exported it. Now we'll check the final output. So this is the chips packet that we have completed. So I hope you like it. If you have not yet subscribed, please do subscribe, like, share, and if you have anything to say, do comment. See you again.